Welcome, everyone. My name is Jason. I'm a teacher by trade. I teach HVACR. I've been teaching for 14 years now. I'm a CMHE, which is a Certified Master HVAC Educator. I also work as on the tech team with iManifold now, and that's brought me here to you this morning. With me today, I have Eric. Eric is also on the tech team. He's very good at the technical side of this, navigating the app and things like that. Say hello, Eric.
Good morning, everybody.
It's very early. Yes. What is it? What time is it, buddy? Again?
It's what, 5 o'clock now?
Yeesh. Wow. Thanks for being with us so early. Thanks for getting up. All right. Today, what we're going to walk through is the iManifold and the iConnect, how to basically get it started. You just bought it, and you want to connect it to an air conditioner or connect it to a refrigeration unit. There's some steps that we have to go through to get it started. There are numerous videos on this, either on YouTube or on our website, but I want to kind of do it live so that we can take it step by step. And if there's something that you have a question on, things that you want to stop us and say, hey, I didn't quite catch that. Can you do that again? We'll be able to do it right here on the training seminar here. So I will switch back and forth between a few different screens. I'm going to show you some of the equipment that we have here. I have the setup for both the iConnect and the iManifold. I have the iManifold here and the iConnect. I have the 911 probes. These are the air probes for temperature, humidity, things like that when we're putting them in the ductwork. I have the pressure probes that are paired with the iConnect, and then I have a bunch of the temperature sensors. Again, I'll stop and go one at a time as we start moving through this. I just want to introduce you to some of the equipment. Again, if there's any questions, please type them in the chat, slow me down, make sure that everything's on the up and up. The first thing we're going to have to do is I'm going to start with the iManifold. The first thing we're going to have to do is get it out of the box. And you see I have it here. And on the back, we have to put the batteries, and we have to pay special attention when we're putting these batteries into the polarity. It's going to take 6 batteries, and we have to put them all in the right way. We want to try and use all fresh new batteries, because newer batteries in parallel with older batteries actually try and charge them up. So when we put the batteries in, we want to make sure we put them all in the right way and we're using new ones. Inside is this little bar right here, and this little bar is going to feed right through our belt clip or our hanger, and it rests right on the top, and we can see the batteries that are inside here, 6 of them. So we hook the clip on, put the batteries in, and put the cover back on. Put these screws back in. We'll also see on the back of this that there are 4 temperature inputs, T1 through T4, and this is for wired temperature sensors. Now, if you're an iConnect user, you're not going to use these inputs. When we get the iConnect, there's a foam plug in place right here, and we want to leave that in place. Nothing's going to plug into this. All of the temperature sensors that we're going to use, the wired temperatures, are going to come out of the probes. All of the probes that we have 2 temperature inputs, T1 and T2. And I'll walk you through that again later in the video. So we got the batteries in. We've got the belt, the hook connected here. We're going to get ready to turn it on. One thing I want to mention when we take it out of the box is the warranty card. Inside of the box, there is a warranty card. Make sure you go online, fill out your warranty on all your equipment. It is pretty important. All right, we got this connected. We have our iConnect here as well. It has the same little bar here. We take the battery cover out, put the little belt connector on here, put the batteries in, and put the cover back on. As I said before, on the back of the iManifold here, we have our temperature inputs. Today, I'm going to use the little air thermistor, the outdoor air. I'm going to plug it right in there. And we can have either the strap thermistors, like you see here, or the clamp, like you see here. I'm going to use the 2-pipe strap.
Hey, Jason, excuse me a sec. Show them how to clip that the elastic into the actual thermistor, the pinch.
Oh, to wrap it around?
Yes.
So we would wrap it around the pipe and then pull it through the connector like so.
Perfect. Thanks.
Everybody catch that. You don't have to really tug on it. You don't have to pull extremely hard. This is pretty heavy duty elastic and it'll hold the thermistor right in place. All right, so now we have some thermistors in place. We got the batteries in place. This is ready to go. We have some probes for this, for the iManifold setup. We're going to use two 911s. These are humidity, temperature, wet bulb type probes. These are going to be for your airflow. And inside of these, there is a sensor, and the sensor is on the back. So we want to make sure that when we place these in the airflow, that the air is directed at the back of this probe, because right here on the back is where the sensor is. One in the supply, one in the return. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you real quick how to pair these up into the app, get everything set up in the app. I want to make you aware of this flashing pattern. We can see it's doing flash, flash, pause. This is the pattern we need to pair it to the app. If it's not in that pattern, if it's just a rapid heartbeat, we're going to press and hold the wireless button until the flashing pattern changes to a flash, flash, pause. We need both probes in that flashing pattern. All right, what we're going to do here is bring up the app and pair some things together. All right. We're pretty set to go here. We're going to turn on our iManifold. And right here in the settings menu, we're going to connect to iManifold. And this one is this guy right here.
Now that menu selection about the manifolds, that's going to be on an Android device. If you got more than one paired up to that particular device.
You see I have the Bluetooth on. We're now connected. We can see the wired thermometers that we had plugged in, reading some temperatures. We'll go over how to map these. But right now we're going to connect our air probe. So we're going to go back to this same menu. And we're going to go down here to wireless probes. And it's going to bring us to this menu. We're going to tap on the screen. And I'm going to press and hold the wireless device, the button here. And it's going to bring us up and say, okay, I see that probe. I want to add another one. I'm going to continue with the second one. And when it comes up, I'll tell it I'm done. If you can keep adding until you're done if you're going to use more probes, more pressure probes, or humidity probes. And in this case, I'm done. It'll take us back here and it'll show the two probes. Here's our battery life. Here's the green light telling us we're okay. We can bring up this drop-down menu and see what we're looking at now. As you can see, probe 1 is set up to be the return air dry bulb and the return air relative humidity. We can change this, called mapping. We tap on this little gear over here, and it's going to bring up this menu. And we can map it, and it gives us some options. It can be used for outdoor air, the supply air, or the return air. And this can be done at any time. You can change this. If you put the probes in, you realize that, oh, I put this probe in the supply and this one in the return, you can come back to this menu and change it. So I'm going to change this one over to the supply air. And then we're going to change the others. Here we are at supply air dry bulb, supply air relative humidity. And then I'll bring up probe 2 and change it over to the return. I'm going to tap on the little menu here. I'm going to choose the map option. And I'm going to map it as the return air. And you'll see it change over to return. All right, we're going to go back to the screen here. And again, we plugged in during the battery session, we plugged in the wired thermistors. We can map those. We have to click on, I believe we have to go to wired temps here. We're going to scroll through here. And this is T1. Remember, there's T1 through T4. And I have some options. I can use suction line, liquid line, discharge line, outdoor air, return air, or supply air. For this example, we're going to, let's change it to the liquid line. And then we'll go over here to T2. And we'll change that over to the suction line. I got the same options for T2. And then the third one, the little air thermistor we're going to leave is the outdoor air. We could add a fourth one if we wanted to be our discharge line or another ambient air, or however you wanted to configure it. But for this case, say I'm working with a residential split system heat pump or air conditioner, I'm going to set up suction line, liquid line, outdoor air. So we have our probes paired up. We have our thermometers in place. Everything's connected. One thing I'm going to bring up when we come over here to the menu is this configuration menu. If we open this up, it's going to show us our auto shutdown time. Now this is how long it's going to wait before it goes into sleep mode or shuts off. And we can edit this, and then here's the battery type. If we move down, we can see the firmware. We are on 1.2.0.0, and this is the most recent version of the firmware. If you needed an update, you'd have a bubble right in here that would tell you that you need an update. Here's my iManifold model number, serial number. And again, the firmware 1.2.0.0 is the most recent.
Hey, Jason, if I could, that your microphone, speak
Yes.
into it a little bit better. You're dropping out on us a little bit.
Okay.
And for you guys that are phoning in and don't have any video, you can find the recording of this session online at our website under the news tab. So later on, if you want to watch it, you can always pick it up there as well.
Thank you. Is the audio a little better, Eric?
Yeah, there you go. Much better.
All right, what we're going to do here real quick, I'm going to click on the edit just so we can see what's adjustable in this menu. We can see our auto shutdown time here. We have some options. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, never. Eric, do you want to bring up updating real quick if you have an Android versus an iOS?
Yeah, updating the firmware on the system. If you do have an Android device, it's only going to take you about 5 minutes. So on your auto shutdown, you know, if you've got a 10, 20, I personally use about 30 minutes on my auto shutdown. But if you are using an iOS device, it'll take about 50 minutes for the update to fully load. So in that 50 minutes, you do not want, number one, your iManifold or iConnect to shut down, and most important, you don't want your iOS device to shut down. So on your settings on your iOS device, just set it to never, the screen lock to never. Because for some reason or another, when you use an iOS device and it goes off and it shuts down the screen, it likes to wander off, and it won't go ahead and upload your firmware update. So just remember to do that before you do so, because it could get frustrating later on that your screen wandered off and it didn't complete the update.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right, under the battery type, we have two options, rechargeable or standard batteries. Make sure you check the proper option for whichever batteries you're using. Now, once we've made any changes in any portion of the app, we're going to use this submit button. Now, anytime you make a change, you always need to click this. This is your best friend, the submit button in this app. It saves the changes that we've made. All right, so I changed it to 30 minutes. We're using standard battery. This is the configuration menu. All right, we're back here on the home screen. We can see the temperatures being measured. We're paired up to the iManifold and both of our probes. Here's our air side, the return and supply, probe 1 and probe 2. And you can see both of these probes have a T1 and T2 for additional temperature inputs. If we're using the iConnect, which I'll pair up in a minute, and we'll go through the iConnect as well, this is where your wired thermistors are going to plug in into the sides of these probes. If we go through here into the menu in the upper left-hand corner, we have equipment profiling. This is how we would get started. There's a bunch of profiles in here pre-stored. We can use one of the quick profiles, or we can make one of our own for a new system. This is what we have to do in order to get targets put in here for us. We did a session last week about moving through the app and profiling a system. I can touch on it briefly here. If we want to make a new system, we choose refrigerant type. In this case, I'll stick with the R22 or we'll go to 410. Air conditioning system. Let's say it's a fixed orifice. 13 SEER condenser. Standard evaporator. And tons. We don't put in BTUs here. This has got to be tons. So if you have 36,000 BTUs, don't put in 36,000. It's going to try and read that as 36,000 tons. We just put in a 3 for 3 ton. And again, we need to go ahead, Eric.
Jason, you might want to point out right there, there's the asterisk right there, optional, not saved to quick profiles. So when you do enter the tonnage in there, it's not going to be saved on your quick profile. So when you go back into a profile, it's not going to have a tonnage, and tonnage will be entered in under your measurements tab. Jason will show you that in just a second.
We can save this, create a profile and name it. And then again, here's that button, submit. We got to keep submitting. The area that Eric was speaking of is again up in this menu in the measurements tab. We tap on measurements. We'll see your airflow and nominal tonnage right here. And we have the option right here to enter our tonnage. Once we've entered it, we can go down to submit. If we change it, I didn't change anything, so it shouldn't ask me to submit. There's a lot of information inside of this. And again, when we go through the app, navigating the app, one of the other sessions that we do, Eric walked through all of these. I can pull up a few of them just to show you some of the things that we can do. We can manually connect a voltmeter and input some voltage, amperage, things like that. This will help us get our EER. There's a lot of things inside of this menu. We're going to come back here. You'll see we 410A. It's given us some targets. And this is the setup for the iManifold. We're ready to connect this to the unit we had just profiled. What I want to do is turn all of this off, and now I'm going to pair the iConnect up for you iConnect users. It's a little bit different as we have some more probes to pair up. All right. So while I get started, I will come on and say hi again. At this time, we're going to turn off the iManifold. and I'm going to switch it over to the iConnect.
Now, while Jason's changing over on that, guys, the iManifold is basically going to be remaining at the condenser the entire time that you're doing testing. With the iConnect, you've got freedom to move about. We leverage the power of the Zigbee radio with the communication of the probes rather than trying to rely on a Bluetooth signal, which, as we know, I mean, they're good signals. Sometimes they're a little stronger at times than others, but utilizing the iConnect, you're only shooting Bluetooth signal from your hip to your smart device. So with that, you'll never have any connectivity issues.
You can see here I'm going to plug in thermometers to the side T1 and T2 of the pressure ports. And I'll show you how to map these inside of the app. So we have the iConnect. We're going to have 2 wireless probes in 911Ms. And we have the high and low pressure. We also have some thermistors plugged into the side. So we have a lot of stuff going on here. And I'm going to bring it up inside of the app and we'll pair it all up. We have the on button, the power button here, and then we have the Bluetooth button. When we're going to pair up, we're going to turn it on, and it'll turn on. And then we're going to press the Bluetooth button to pair it over to the wireless device. So I'm going to bring up the app. And this time around, we're going to connect to the iConnect. We're connected.
Just so you know, hooking up to that iConnect, if you've already paired it in, you're going to get that list, and you'll just select your device from the list. When you're using the Bluetooth button there, that's on for the first connection only.
And it doesn't have to be done so much on the iOS. The initial time you pair with an Android device, there has to be a pairing through the Bluetooth. It has to search out your device, will search out the iManifold or the iConnect, pair with it, and then after, for future uses, it'll recognize it. The iOS systems don't necessarily have to do that. All right, we're connected. We see the battery life. And now we have to put on some wireless probes. One of the things to bring up here is, oh, well, they're all here. Wow. Because I paired them earlier to a different system, I may have to delete and then repair the probes in order to get them to function properly. See here, even though we did pair some of these earlier, so we're going to click on this, and we're going to remove it, and we'll repair it in a second once I remove all these probes. If you work for a company where you pass around these tools, or if you're switching between iOS and Android, things like that, you may have to do this from time to time. So what I'm going to do is remove all of these probes, and then we're going to repair them. And there's going to be 4 this time instead of 2. We're going to have the 2 911s for humidity and temperature, and then we're going to have the low and high pressure. And then we'll show you how to map the temperature sensors out of the side of the pressure probes. Again, if you have any questions, type them in or leave them on the website at iManifold.com Tech Talk. All right, we're ready to get started here. I'm going to pair up. Remember, we need // pause. And to get there, we're just press and hold the wireless device till the rapid flashing changes to a // pause pattern. We're going to add more. I'm going to bring up the next one. And again, we do have videos in this. I just felt it was better to go through it live in slow motion here and take questions throughout the process. And those videos can be found either on our YouTube page or our website at iManifold.com. All right, so I've got the humidity probes. Now we're going to pair up the pressure probes. We're looking for the flash, pause pattern, and to get that, we press and hold the wireless device, wireless button, until the flashing pattern changes, and then press it one more time, and we'll get a message. All right, we've got it. And now the high pressure.
If you ever run across a time where you have more than one iManifold working in the same vicinity, when these probes are paired to an iManifold or an iConnect, they stay paired with that system until you either remove them, unpair them, press the wireless transmit button, it'll unpair the thing. So you can say you've got a set of probes that you need to lend to another guy that works with you, and you need to lend him a probe or two. Just remove them from your system, give them to him, and he can put them into his system. So, you know, probes can go back and forth without a problem.
One of the other things is the 911 probes here that we're seeing in the screen. I forget which one is which sometimes. One of the things we can do when we bring up this little menu, we have this option right here for wink. And I'm going to try and get these close enough to the camera where we can see the little flashing buttons there. And when I wink it, you're going to see one of them start flashing real fast. This one right here on top. It went really crazy. So this is probe 1. That's a quick way to figure out which probe is which by winking it, and the light will go really, really fast. Again, with the temperature probes, the humidity, we can map them supply and return, like we did earlier in the iManifold portion. And then on the pressure probes, this is where I have my thermometers plugged in. We have T1 and T2. You see T1 here is already mapped to the suction line, and T2 is open to whatever we want to use it for. If I wanted to switch these around, for example, move the suction line over to T2, I would do it from this menu. Swap suction line temperature right here, and it will move the suction line over to T2. And then I can just click on T1 here, and I want to have that be my liquid line temperature, discharge line temperature, outdoor air. Let's have that be the outdoor air. And then again, on the high pressure probe, I don't have a thermometer here, but if I wanted to switch it over, once you get them configured and you get them hooked up in the field and you realize, oh, I connected this one to the vapor line or this one to the liquid line, you don't have to go through and disconnect and move the thermistors around. You can go back into the app and just remap it to wherever you had it connected in the first place. So now we have all 4 probes, the low and high pressure, supply and return for humidity 1 and 2. We have everything paired up. We're going to go back to the home screen. And again, you'll see the temperatures that we had plugged in. I don't have the pressure probes connected to anything, so we're not going to, on the iConnect, you're not going to see anything here on these wire temps. Remember, we showed you on the back of the iConnect, there's that foam plug in place, and we want to keep it there. So there shouldn't be anything here, T1 through T4. Here's our air probes, the supply and return.
Now, if I can just bump in just a little bit, what you're seeing on the screen right now is off of a smart device that is being transmitted onto a laptop. Now, unfortunately, the Surface Pros and things like that, our app does not work with the Surface Pros and these new laptops that are kind of like tablets as of yet. There's no emulator that'll actually decipher the app on there well yet. So When it comes available, we will definitely let everybody know.
Thank you.
We are working on it as we speak. So we expect we'll have it in a pretty short time to be able to work on a Windows-based system.
Thanks. All right, so here we have probe 3, which is the low pressure probe. And again, if I wanted to change that temperature, I decided, oh, I did want to hook it up to the discharge line or the liquid line. You can do it right again here from the screen. I'm going to keep it as the outdoor air, but this just shows you how user friendly it is. We can make changes from multiple areas just by tapping on things. And then here's probe 4. We can actually, if we want, plug another thermometer into the side, and we'll map it right from here. I'm going to plug this thermistor into T2. You'll see we get a temperature reading automatically here on T2, and we can map it. Since this is the high pressure probe, let's hook it up to the discharge line. So now we have 4 temperatures reading. We have on the low pressure probe, we're going to have our suction line and our outdoor air. And on the high pressure probe, we're going to have our liquid line and our discharge line. And these are the active temps being read right now. One more thing we can add to the network. Again, the more probes that we add to the network, the stronger the network becomes. I have here a repeater. You can see it in the camera here. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my wireless probes. And I'm going to add this one. We're going to go up here to add. It's looking. We're going to tap on the button. And we'll be done. And we'll see it right here. And this gives us 2 more temperature inputs, and we can locate this. If we're working inside and outside, we have probes indoors and probes outdoors. We can put this near a window, this repeater, and it helps to strengthen the signal from inside to outside. That'd be the best location for it. There are magnets here on the front of it. It can stick to a surface. And it also has T1, T2 on the side. We can plug in more temperatures here and map them. So again, the more probes we get into the network, the stronger the network becomes. So we've got a lot of equipment sitting out here. The table's a mess. We got 911s, we got the iConnect, the iManifold, the low and high pressure, 1, 2, 3, 4 thermistors, outdoor air, and a repeater. We went through pairing up the iManifold, and we went through pairing up the iConnect. Again, if we wanted to do a quick profile here while we're on the iConnect, we can choose one of the quick profiles, or we can make our own. And we're going to save this one. We're going to make a quick profile, and we'll show you how to save it and give it a name. If you're working somewhere where we have a bunch of the same type of units, we can make our own profile. And then give it a name.
Jason, go up onto edit the current profile.
Yeah, there we go. My mouse isn't cooperating with me. All right, 410A. Let's say air conditioning. Let's say this one's a TXV. High efficiency, 1314's here. Standard evaporator.
For some reason, it looks like your screen has froze up. Did it freeze up for everybody else?
Is it moving?
No, I think it is frozen a bit.
Yeah, it's frozen.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right. Well, I'm gonna, if the screen's frozen, I'm going to switch back to the camera. All right. I apologize for that. We will As soon as I get this back up and running, I will bring it back to you. All right. So today we went through a bit of pairing up with the iManifold, pairing up with the iConnect, a bunch of the different probes. One of the things when you first download the app, there will be a video on this. It'll be on the website. When you pair for the first time, when you download the app for the first time, it's going to ask you to register, and you're going to put an email address in there. In the reporting features, this email is the default email address where all the reports are going to be sent. There is a free report that you get, but if you want the full experience, you go into the cloud reporting, and then there's a lot more features in the reporting. We do have a session coming up on June 12th. There's two of them actually, one at 9 a.m. Eastern and one at 4 p.m. Eastern, and it's how to make money with the iManifold. And what that's going to get into a bit of is the additional reporting features, the cloud stuff, the things that you're able to do with the cloud. And if I'm going to see if I bring this back up, see if it started to.
Well, that's coming up, Jason. We just like to shout out to the guys at RA Kaplan. We see that few of you guys are on for the training. We appreciate it. RA Kaplan is our representative group out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. They have Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan. So we thank you for showing up.
Is the screen
Yes,
moving?
it is.
Is it? All right.
We're
So
back
we're
in
back to. We're going to create a quick profile here. And again, here's our button, submit. We'd like to create this profile. And we can give it a name or let it auto name. If I'm working at a company and I have a bunch of the units and I want to name it company A or B, or I can choose auto name. I'll just let it auto name it for me. And we have a profile. We've got little target areas here. Airflow, discharge. We're assigned a bunch of targets, superheat, subcooling, things like that. We have some troubleshooting options here, obviously, because I'm not connected. The system's going to tell me I have all kinds of problems. But if we go up to this menu here in the upper left-hand corner, I've seen it referred to as the hamburger menu. I guess it could look like a burger and two buns. We go to projects and reporting. And we can create a new project. Again, I don't have any pressures or temperatures reading, so it's not going to walk me through a thing, but I can give it a job number, ID, equipment service, and submit it. When we open up the app for the first time and we register it, where we submit it to is the email address that we use to submit for registration. And Eric, we were talking about updating the firmware. There's also updates in the app as well. How would we know that we need an app update?
When you power up the system and you go ahead and connect up, there'll be a bubble that'll pop up right in the middle, and it'll tell you that firmware updates are available. And when they are available, it'll prompt you that you can go ahead and do your update right there from that screen.
That's for the firmware or for the app?
The firmware.
And then for the app, you just go to the App Store.
Applications, that'll show up right when you enter in the application itself.
Okay. And the most current version?
The most current version is 9. Actually, pull it over there. We've got to show everybody that cool new little this little Mexican walking fish. Other side there, Jason.
Oh yeah. Not the hamburger menu.
Yes, the hamburger.
There's the hamburger. There's the gear menu. Going to help.
My mouse is moving a little slow. I apologize.
About this app now. Don't get scared, everybody. Watch this thing.
This is called the what?
It's a Mexican walking fish. Now, scroll down just a little bit, and you'll see the name of this thing.
Right there.
A Zolti? I'm not even sure.
And this is the most current version, yes?
Yes, it is.
Actually, this needs to be updated. This is 9.5. But this is the Mexican walking fish version of it, yes.
Yeah.
So that was, again, in the settings menu. Down here in the help. And then we can pull up about this app.
Yeah, the latest app that's on there right now is 9.6, and you'll see it's build 001, so you'll know that you're on the right one. But that's just the
So I need an
very
update.
latest update.
So I do need an update. You can see here I'm running on 095.
Yes.
All right. All right, at this point, I'd like to open up for some questions. If there's something that, Eric, if anything came up in the chat during the pairing thing that we would like to address on the session here. You pull up everything set here. All right, I will go back to this. Hello, everyone. We're back. All right. Again, there are videos. There are existing videos that are on our website, that are on our YouTube channel, the website iManifold.com, and we do have recordings of these sessions on our website. And if you have questions that we didn't get to or a bit out of the scope of this particular webinar that you would like to have answered, we would go to Tech Talk on our website and submit those questions or suggestions for future topics. If there's something that you'd like us to cover during a webinar, you can go there and put it in and say, hey, I'd like to see this, or can you try doing one of those? And we'll do our best to put that together and get it up and running.
Great. Well,
You know, and also if there's any questions that you have, maybe during the day, while you're working or anything else, you can always call us on our tech line. One of us will be happy to help you at any time.
great. Well, thank you, Jason. Thank you, Eric.